Hello, I am sitting here with the painting that Josie thinks is absolute trash. I painted this. I don't know why she doesn't like it. Anyway, I just wanted to do a quick update. I did a video recently on Matters Day, and I think, unfortunately, with the way it was posted and the narrative that was posted around it, it made it seem like I was saying that that I believed the narrative, which I don't. More, I think the point I was trying to make is I'm trying to understand the nature of belief, and I've always found it interesting that within a week of each other you have Matters Day, where people died for their religious beliefs. At least that's how it's framed. While at the same time, it was an opposition, a political issue with which religion was being used as sort of a way to wedge in political power by the British, and Kabaka Mwanga had to, fight them off, and all the narratives that surround that, sort of reinforce certain ideas of how religion creates martyrdom. And I think the idea of martyrdom and heroes, like we celebrate on Heroes Day, which is in Uganda a celebration of the people who, largely it was started for the people who were in the liberation war, who contributed to the development of Uganda, but many of them are either celebrated in death. They're celebrated for sacrificing their lives, and there's something about that sacrifice sort of retroactively making what you sacrificed yourself for exceedingly meaningful. And that's not necessarily the case. Now, I don't want to disrespect anyone, because I know anyone who lives and sacrifices is taking a big action, but you can do that for something that you can be sincerely wrong. And I look at that with things like the US Army. There is almost a fetishization of the heroic ideal of the person who sacrifices their life to go and defend our freedoms and go and bring us go and bring salvation to the people of America. I'm saying us like I'm still in America, but the thing I always wondered about that is, if you remove the context, if you remove the thing that it's a government that is trying to go and dominate another nation or to extract resources, but is framing it as, we need to go and defend our freedoms. We need to go and, show that democracy is the most powerful thing. When you believe that narrative and you follow through, I think there is something to be said for that. There is a connection there to ideals and to, morals of living beyond yourself, of having some kind of virtue. And that's why it's so insidious. It's difficult to break away from that, because then you don't see the material causes, the material reasons, the power that, is sort of underneath what it is that you're doing. So you can be genuine and sincere and sacrifice your life, but other people are using that sacrifice, just like Napoleon said, that religion is a very useful tool for people who are in power. So for me, Heroes Day, as I was thinking about it, I wonder if we still need heroes. Now, that's not to say there aren't exceptional individuals or people who, express some talent or some approach that we can follow an example for. But as a bourgeois thought, having heroes, it almost does three things. Number one, it gives the idea of the self-made or the exceptional individual that can excuse some people from being able to reach there. So you look at an MLK or a Nelson Mandela, or people of that nature, who become sort of figures that are high above us and become almost symbolic, and we strive to them, but we know we can never reach them. The critique I have of that is that it sort of removes the real person. It abstracts, it sanitizes, and makes these people not have proper human failings. They probably have like failings which are a little bit more palatable. And you like, how many people have read MLK's books? How many people have actually read what the ANC had to go through? One of these days I'm going to do a whole episode on the ANC and the political movement that came out of the Marxist tradition that was informing an ANC approach together with an Ubuntu thought. But ultimately, I think the point is, you can sort of see these figures as are removed from us, and then you excuse yourself from taking action. The second thing is, it removes the structural and collective situations that bring these people to bear. There is a myth of the self-made. There's a myth of this powerful individual who's fighting against the crowd. Now, that narrative is very powerful, and there are a few people who can get to do that, but it's not their choosing. They didn't choose their time and place, and they didn't choose their sort of orientation. Hegel says this at a certain point, that these great historical figures are not just coming out of the blue, but there are so many different contingent reasons that bring them to bear, and so in that particular moment, in that particular time, they were the only ones who could have thought that thought or pushed that narrative. So it's a reminder to us to say, what was the context within which these people had to be heroic? Then the third is, what does it serve? What status quo? Especially for us in our government, when we don't know what the selection criteria is for these heroes. We don't know why they're being selected, what they sort of enforce. And I think without that transparency, it makes it very, at least for me, it's a cynical process. It seems to be just something reinforcing the idea that the national resistance movement or whatever political power is heroic and it's developmental, and it has allowed for these people to come up and bring the country forward. Now, I'm not saying that those people's actions haven't done some increase, but it doesn't critique the system. It doesn't critique the very fact that we still need to have heroes. A proper system will not require heroes. The very fact that we have heroes is an indictment on the 40-year reign that we've been living under. And I think for me, that's the real takeaway, the fact that we still need to have heroes to make this kind of system palatable. So whatever the case, I hope you enjoy your holiday. If anything, we have a 3-day break and we all need it. So be good, be kind, read some philosophy, and share this with whoever you think needs it. Cheers. This episode of What the Theory is brought to you by Soteria Shipping. Soteria Shipping is an online concierge service that allows you to order for some of your favorite items, whether large or small, right to your doorstep. And the good news, it's able to ship to you, my What the Theory fans and followers in Kenya and Uganda. It's a great business. Please check it out and support.